What green card and visa holders need to know ahead of summer travel season. As summer nears, many U.S. green card and visa holders are feeling uncertain about international travel. Reports of detentions and denied reentries have raised concerns, despite government reassurances that law-abiding travelers have nothing to fear. If you are interested in this topic, please pay attention and watch the video through the end to get all the information. Please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to push the notification bell for an upcoming video. As summer travel season draws nearer, many U.S. green card and visa holders are anxious about traveling outside the country, following reports of more people being detained or denied re-entry at points of entry, like airports and border crossings. The Trump administration has insisted that those who haven't broken any laws have nothing to fear about leaving or returning, but experts who spoke to Newsweek were less confident that is the case. The Trump administration has given permanent residents and visa holders plenty of reason to worry about running into problems trying to get back into the United States from a trip abroad. Cesar Cuauhtemoc Garcia Hernandez, the Gregory Williams Chair in Civil Rights and Civil Liberties at Ohio State University College of Law, said in an interview, "Anyone who isn't a U.S. citizen should think hard about the need to leave the United States, especially if they have made statements on social media that are critical of political positions that the Trump administration supports or have had even minimal contact with police." In recent weeks, some people with legal status, either green cards or valid visas, have been denied entry or questioned at the border for a variety of reasons. On Thursday, CBP announced it had denied entry to over 320 individuals across February and March at New York's John F. Kennedy Airport alone. Is international travel safe for green card holders? Overall, there's no guarantee that you're going to be admitted to the United States. That's always been the case. Shannon Shepard, chair of the media committee for the American Immigration Lawyers Association, said, "But what we're seeing lately is more negative exercise of discretion, I guess is the way to put it, where people are being denied entry that we wouldn't necessarily have been denied before, or people being detained instead of just allowed to withdraw their request for entry." Shepard, who also works with the firm Immigration Attorneys LLP in Chicago, said AILA had concerns that enforcement actions against green card holders in particular could increase in the coming months as travel picks up. According to the U.S. government, it is still possible for lawful permanent residents, green card holders, and those with valid visas to leave and re-enter the U.S. as long as they have not broken any laws or committed immigration fraud. The Trump administration is enforcing immigration laws, something the previous administration failed to do, CBP Assistant Commissioner Hilton Beckham said in a statement. Those who violate these laws will be processed, detained, and removed as required. Green card holders who have not broken any U.S. laws, committed application fraud, or failed to apply for a re-entry permit after a long period of travel have nothing to fear about entering and exiting the country. Having the correct documentation when traveling is of particular importance, these experts said. For green card holders, that would mean a valid passport and green card. If a green card is up for renewal, it's typically valid for 10 years. Then the receipt from the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service showing an application is under review, and the expired green card is extended temporarily must also be carried. The same applies to green card holders who obtained a temporary 2-year card after marrying a U.S. citizen. While applying for the removal of conditions, a similar extension applies pending USCIS approval. Shepard emphasized that past criminal convictions, even minor infractions, could now be taken into account at the discretion of CBP officers at the border, along with social media comments or text messages, in order to deny entry even if the traveler has all the correct paperwork. The attorney said she had a client who had waited years for a green card and had not traveled to see his parents in a decade. He has now canceled his trip out of fear he won't be allowed back into the U.S. He is likely not alone. What we've been telling our clients, and it's hard to say and it's hard to hear, but it's exercise caution and only travel if it's necessary, Shepard said. What I've been saying is check back with me in a month. Let's see if things have calmed down or if it's been made clearer what is and is not going to be flagged. Is international travel safe for U.S. visa holders? Immigrants without lawful permanent resident status face a bit more uncertainty. If an individual is in the process of applying for a green card, known as adjustment of status, then they generally can't leave the country anyway without something called advance parole. This is a travel document that has to be granted by USCIS before travel, not during. CBP explains on its website that those with valid H-1B or L-1 visas going through AOS are allowed to travel without advance parole, as are V&K 3/4 non-immigrant visa holders. The advice from attorneys who have spoken is that visa holders should exercise caution and speak with their immigration lawyers before any international travel. The U.S. government also makes it clear on its websites that a visa only permits immigrants to reach a U.S. port of entry, such as passport control at an airport. It does not guarantee entry into the country, and CBP officers who check your documents have the power to deny entry if they see a valid reason to do so. That policy can even apply to those already with visas who have previously entered the U.S. without issue. The Trump team has adopted an expansive view of the power immigration law gives it to detain, deport, and strip people of legal permission that the government has previously given them to live here, Garcia Hernandez said. Even if courts constrain them to some extent, the ordeal of detention and exclusion isn't something anyone should take lightly. It's a lot easier to fight off deportation from inside the United States than fight to get back into the United States once outside. Checking social media and phone messages. While CBP has been able to search phones and other electronic devices at the border for some time without a warrant, there have been increased reports of agents carrying out searches of all arrivals, including U.S. citizens. There's a quite small chance of a quite invasive thing happening to you at the border, and there are very few protections for those unlucky people who are subjected to this. Tom McBrien, counsel at the Electronic Privacy Information Center, said, Border Patrol officials say the search rate is low, at around 0.01% of travelers in fiscal year 2024. A traveler must comply with a request or risk being denied entry to the U.S. for failure to comply. Officers can carry out an initial search by just asking to access camera rolls or messages, but they are also able to carry out forensic searches using external devices. In some jurisdictions, this requires a warrant, but not in all. McBrien said there are a few things travelers can do to mitigate privacy concerns before traveling into the U.S., including having a secondary phone they travel with limited personal data on it, putting data into encrypted cloud storage, and even turning off a phone or device before reaching the border. This is because CBP officers cannot ask for a password or passcode, which is typically required on startup, rather than Face ID or a fingerprint, which an officer can essentially force a traveler to provide. If they ask you to provide that PIN or passcode if you're an American citizen, they cannot deny you entry if you refuse to do that. If you are a visa holder, they can deny you, McBrien said. But either way, especially if you're a U.S. citizen, you have to be aware that they can't deny you entry, but they can seize your phone. What if you are detained at the border? If a green card or visa holder does decide to travel abroad and is pulled aside by CBP on their return to U.S., Shepard's advice was to be honest with officers to avoid detention or denial of entry. This doesn't happen so much with green card holders, but with people who have non-immigrant visas or a visitor visa, and they're coming here to visit their boyfriend or girlfriend. But they say, I'm just here to see the Statue of Liberty or something, and then they find all these text messages to their boyfriend. It's things like that where if they had just disclosed in the first place, that might not have been a problem. Shepard said, green card and visa holders should ensure they have a record of their exit from the U.S. For permanent residents in particular, leaving for more than 6 months was seen by those who spoke for this story as particularly fraught. In those cases, the U.S. government requires more paperwork for a reentry permit. The National Immigration Law Center advises those pulled aside at port of entry to answer questions rather than remain silent, and to seek out an attorney to be present for questions unrelated to immigration status. For green card holders, there is no requirement to answer further questions from officers, but refusing to do so may delay entry into the U.S., according to the American Civil Liberties Union. The group also encourages immigrants to have the phone number of an attorney on hand, just in case. Shepard said that while all this advice may sound extreme, she believed caution was necessary during a time of showmanship going on from the government, which may pass once the administration has signaled to the public that it is taking immigration enforcement seriously. Experts advise exercising caution, as even minor legal issues or critical social media posts could lead to complications at the border. With immigration enforcement on the rise, travelers are urged to stay informed carry proper documentation, and consult legal experts before making travel plans. That is all for today. In this video, what are your thoughts on this? Please let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching the entire video. Hopefully, the information is useful to you. See you later in the next video. Till then, take care.
What green card and visa holders need to know ahead of summer travel season. As the summer travel season nears, many US green card and visa holders are growing increasingly anxious about international travel due to rising reports of detention and re-entry denials at US airports and border crossings. While the Trump administration claims that individuals who have not broken any laws have nothing to fear, immigration experts suggest that even legal residents may face challenges returning to the country. Factors such as social media pose critical of the administration, past interactions with law enforcement, or administrative technologies could be used to deny re-entry. Legal residents have recently been turned away or detained at ports of entry, prompting a warning from immigration attorney to approach international travel with caution. Green card holders, even with valid documentation, are being scrutinized more closely. Those traveling must ensure they carry an unexperienced green card, or if it is being renewed, a receipt notice from uscis to show continued validity. Temporary green card holders married to US citizens must also carry documentation of their ongoing application process. Visa holders face even more uncertainty. Those applying for permanent residency generally need to secure advance parole before leaving the country, with expectations for a certain visa types. However, even travelers with valid visas may be denied re-entry, as CBP officers have a broad authority to refuse entryways on a discretion past infractions or a perceived intent to overstay. Electronic privacy concerns are also increasing, with CBP agents reportedly searching phones and electronic devices more frequently. Though these searches are rare, travelers are advised to minimize personal data on devices and use encrypted cloud. Though these searches are rare, travelers are advised to minimize personal data on devices and use encrypted cloud storage. While US citizens cannot be denied entry for refusing to unlock their phones, visa holders can be, if detained travelers are advised to be honest and cooperative with the CBP officers. Misleading information, even about personal matters like visiting a romantic partner, can raise red flags. Extended absences of over 6 months may require additional re-entry permits. Legal advocates encourages travelers to keep an attorney contact information available and a considered postponing non-essential trips until there is a more clarity around enforcement practices. Caution, preparedness, and transparency remain essential for non-citizens navigating international travel under heightened scrutiny.